So over the last few weeks, I've been bombarded with questions of how did he die? What happened? What was he doing? I could easily be like other people and just simply repeatedly say, no comment, I don't want to talk about it. The family has asked that we don't discuss things. But Rich has always been really open with you guys and very honest, which is what I'm going to continue to do for him, for myself, for his family, and for anybody who really cared about him. Please don't get caught up in the hype and the rumor mill. A lot of things that are put out there are based on assumption. So I would just want to set the record straight for all of you. What happened that morning, we got up, we had a photo shoot at Powerhouse, we came home, made him food. He was checking his Instagram, and he said, I want you to cut my hair. And yeah, somebody made some stupid comment about, why would a guy who has all this money have his girlfriend cut his hair, and why would he be standing up? Has this guy ever done anything conventional that you're aware of? He always thought outside the box and did things differently. And I always cut his hair usually. You guys know that. The video from Australia, I gave him his crazy weird mohawk haircut. So I was cutting his hair, and he leaned forward against the wall in front of him in the bathroom. And I thought that he was just kind of trying to stretch his neck out so I could cut the back of his hair better. And all of a sudden, he started to fall back towards me. And I said, baby, are you okay? And as he came back, his eyes were rolled into the back of his head. I was kind of three-quarter to him, and I went to catch him, and he was sweating, so he slipped, fell, bumped his head, and then fell back. His eyes were wide open, and he was gasping. The way that he does when he sleeps sometimes, because we're all pretty sure he's got, oh my God, what is that called? Sleep apnea. So his eyes are wide open and he's laying there. And I know usually it stops if I roll him to his side. So I rolled him to his side. I thought that he had passed out from maybe locking his knees or something and hitting his head. So I slapped him across the face a couple times, screamed his name, shook him. It wasn't working. Brandon got my phone, called 911, put it on speakerphone, threw it next to him. I said, I was cutting my boyfriend's hair and he passed out. I think he's having sleep apnea. I've got him on his side. No mention of drugs or overdose, so please get that out of your brain. I never, ever called and said anything about drugs to anyone. Not to the police, not 911, not to TMZ as it's been reported. I didn't reach out to any media outlet in regards to this situation, so please be clear about that. So as I said this to the 911 operator, she said, sweetie, that's not sleep apnea. You have to roll him to his back and you have to start compressions. She directed me as to how to do so. I was jumping up and down on him with all my might to try to make sure that I kept his heart pumping. According to my phone records, I was on hold or on call with 911 for approximately 10 minutes before the paramedics arrived. The only time I left him was to go unlock the door to let them in. When they came in, they checked his pulse. They said he wasn't responsive. I screamed and fell into the bathroom sink. 3 paramedics put him into our living room. They had to take me outside where I collapsed and I got put into an ambulance. So they worked on him for approximately another 20 minutes, as far as I know. They defibbed him in order to get him back. They took him to an ambulance. I came back into my home. And in the meantime, I had called Jane. I don't know anybody else here. I needed somebody to help me with, I don't know what, I was scared. She was with me, and she stayed to lock up the house for me. I went to the hospital. Another thing you guys should know, all of these reports saying, Jansen said that Rich has been using steroids for over 20 years. That wasn't me. So they didn't even get clear who they were speaking to at the time. Furthermore, all of you know he's been doing steroids for over 20 years, so it shouldn't be any surprise as to he had steroids in his house. And I'm pretty sure that any bodybuilder out there that's big knows that 20 bottles is not a whole lot as far as I've been told. And those same bottles have been in there for nearly a year. So that's his personal use, and it's been lasting him over the year. It's not like he was overly juicing, etc., etc. I just want to make that very clear. As far as this white powdery substance goes, remember when he was with Mutant and he was in Germany? I was with him there at the time. That was 4 years ago. and he snorted mutant mayhem. Does that at all sound familiar? Hate to break it to you guys, but the white powdery substance isn't coke. And think logically, if him and I were coke heads, don't you think that we'd be a lot thinner than we are? Don't you think we'd be tweaking all the time and making cracked out videos? No, we weren't doing that. So it was pre-workout on the table, and as I've said before, not a conventional guy, always has done shit his own way. So he snorted his pre-workout because it hit him that much faster in order to get a good workout. Rich is a wonderful person who has changed a lot of lives, including mine. And I don't want all of this bullshit to muddy the waters of his legacy and the wonderful things he's done for so many people. And I was just talking to the marketing guys. We had well over 6 hours worth of people calling in with prayers and stories of how he's changed their lives. One guy in particular, I will remember, called and said that because of Rich, he went back to school and became a molecular biologist. I don't even know what the fuck that is, but he inspired somebody to go do something that I don't know what the fuck that does for people in the universe, but apparently it's something important. Like, he inspired so many people to do so many different things, and people wanted to wish him well. And I get that other people have said negative things about him, or maybe he wasn't the greatest person in the past, but you know what? You got to let that shit go, because we've all made mistakes in our life. We've all done things or said things we're not proud of, and it takes a real man to stop and realize he's made a mistake and apologize. And he did that for a lot of the things he did in his life, and he didn't have to, but he did that because he was a real man, and he was more concerned with making sure that people still wanted to listen to his positivity and his message and change the world and change people's lives. So I hope that his message still continues to do that, even though there's all this negativity out there. Please don't believe it. Please just stay on the positive path. I know that rumors are going to fly no matter what I've said or continue to say. And I can't sway you one way or the other. If your mind's already made up and you're a stubborn person, you're going to believe that no matter what. I was there in the hospital with him every day for nearly 3 weeks, holding his hand, talking to him, singing to him, watching movies with him, playing music that he liked, playing music he hated, anything to keep things going, anything to try to wake him up. I slept there all the time. I was known as the girl who didn't leave. I didn't even leave during his last moments. I was right there with him. And I begged the nurses, if you see that he's leaving, please wake me up. Because I can't have in my head the way that he passed away on me in our house. I need to see him go peacefully. I was holding his hand while I slept, and the nurses came in to check on him, and it woke me up, and I repositioned myself, and I let go of his hand. And I fell back to sleep, and they came in about 40 minutes later, and they told me that he had passed. The nurse said, "Sweetie, I think he was waiting for you to let go of his hand because he didn't want you to feel him have a spasm or jerk or hear anything." We're all in this together, but none of us are getting out alive. So please, please, stay strong and lift each other up. Stop tearing each other down. The world needs more positive people like Rich. So please, stay positive, stay strong, do whatever it takes, and be that 5%. Please make him proud. And please continue on with his legacy. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.